Peace. I am Dr. Zelaika Hepworth Clarke, and I am currently on the land of the Aboriginal Abenaki people in Vermont. I'm at Goddard College, where I co founded the anti racist, anti colonial sexuality studies concentration program. I also co created the DSAR, which is a decolonial sexual attitudes and reassessment restructuring program, which is a requirement for our sexuality studies students. The DSAR is a unique, innovative sexuality training program that assists participants understand the impact of settler colonialism, white supremacy, capitalism, and cis heteropatriarchy on their relationship to sex, gender, relationality, sexuality, love, relationships, and the erotic. So that's a little bit about what I do at Goddard. I am also in private practice at the Pluriversity, where I provide therapeutic, educational, consulting services as a sexuality professional. And I wear many different hats as a sexuality professional. So some of them are I'm a clinical sexologist, a cultural sexologist. I love the cultural constructions of gender and sexuality. I am a loveologist. I love studying love, particularly decolonial love. I am an eroticologist. I love eroticism. I specialize in oceanality, which is an African eroticism, and grounded on the understanding of eroticism as articulated by Audre Lorde in The Power of the Erotic. And I am a sexuality educator, which to me is like a love educator, a sexuality consultant, a sexosopher. I study the philosophy of sexuality. I'm a sexecologist, and which basically studies the intersections of nature and sexuality. And I am also an autoethnographer, a pleasure activist, and an African-centered social worker. I am a graduate of the National Association for Black Social Workers Academy for African-Centered Social Work. And I am also a graduate of Widener University's programs in dual degrees. So I have my master's in social work and my master's in education of human sexuality, and got my PhD in human sexuality in 2015, and wrote my dissertation that I'm really happy because I right now am really want to tell you about what got me into this field, which was, I think it's my mom allowed me to study whatever I wanted. And I really felt that I did have the freedom and opportunity and privilege to know myself and align myself with my purpose. And I was lucky and afforded the supportive family to be able to, that encouraged me to pursue my intellectual curiosity. And I got clarity around my raison d'être, or my reason to be, or my purpose. And I think that I figured out that my purpose is to increase sexual multi-epistemic literacy. In other words, there are many different ways of understanding and knowing about sexualities and genders and relationships and relating. And I'm really passionate about expanding minds and the Decolonial Project and unlearning negative effects of colonialism and decreasing the possibility of others doing harm to others through education, and participating and assisting people on their healing journey, and to facilitate Black liberation and erotic sovereignty and sexual justice, which is obviously connected to social justice, which is also connected to all the things. Reproductive justice, gender justice, disability justice, ecological justice, economic justice, epistemic justice, I think that it's all connected. And as a sexuality professional, I uh, have to get clear on what my values are. And you may be wondering, what ways does social work and sexuality overlap? Um, I like to choose jobs or activities where I can really utilize all my degrees. And so I was a social worker at the DC Center for the LGBT community, where I ran a queer women working through trauma group and provided assistance to asylum seekers, and also assisted in running groups for trans, for bisexual, for genderqueer folks, as well as provided therapeutic services. I taught at Lincoln University in Philadelphia, the first historically black college in America, where I taught master's level counseling students courses on sexuality, gender, theories of counseling, and assessment and application. And so I'm also currently teaching at California Institute for Integral Studies, sexuality, human sexuality, for master's level counseling students as well. And so I think that there's a lot of different opportunities to be able to contribute to the field. And it's really important to know your strengths and your weaknesses and your biases to be able to um, see where you can contribute to making a difference in your community. I think that social work and sexuality are distinct oftentimes. I really wanted I mastered being a social worker and understanding uh, systems and the ways that different tools and different assessments and different lenses to be able to strategize, making the world a more just and livable environment and to bring peace. And I want to share with you some recommendations that I have for you as dual degree students in future careers. One of them is to learn yourself, learn how you learn how you love, learn about your passions, get clarity around your desires, your passions, your goals, and work with who you are, your quirks. Be open and receptive to transformation. Observe yourself without judgment, and taking into consideration your experiences and new information and how to support yourself and to be able to advocate for yourself. It's really important to know yourself, know your boundaries, your limits, your biases. To know your values, to be able to refer out when necessary, and know which populations may not be advantageous for you to work with for your own well-being, but also for their growth, for their healing, and for their transformation as well. Recognize any blinders that you may have. Be aware of where you're at, your affect, the impact that you may have working on your communication skills, being open to new information, and because there's just different ways of understanding trauma and experiencing trauma, and different ways of healing, and different ways to heal. And so, well, that leads me into my other thing, which is to heal yourself. In African centered social work, I learned that it's really important to do the work on myself before, excuse me, before I do the work on other people. Be open to transformation. Be aware of self-sabotaging behavior. Try to practice what you preach. And in that, being really intentional with the words that you speak. Having intentional speak and bringing power to speech, and being aware of your intentions, and also on the same way is continue to develop your listening skills and being able to listen in very deep way. I love listening in ways that can open space and from a non-judgmental so active listening essentially, and really really love facilitating healing for people and leading by example and breathing and staying hydrated. Highly recommend it. Get rest, take care of yourself, community care, know your support system, network. Be mindful of how you relate to people, how you treat people. There's plenty of work for all of us. I am in competition with no one except myself. I'm in love, and love is a powerful force that guides my work and informs my teaching and informs my therapeutic practice and informs my relationships. And I'm also developing the awareness of what my lens is and developing a liberatory gaze. And so really looking at myself, how can I liberate myself and also others? And there are many different ways of achieving goals, and you may make mistakes. I think it's important to take responsibility and to change your behavior, to be mindful where you get information from and attribute it to the authors. Don't plagiarize. Step up your ethics, be ethical, think things through. I'm following 3 code of ethics right now, and I tend to just follow the most conservative ones and be careful. Reach out when you need assistance. Let's see. Incorporate pleasure into your everyday. And I hope that you know your power and are able to make a difference within your life and other people's life, to stay open to learning more about yourself and other communities. And good luck. May the force be with you. I have more information on my website, www.zelaika.com.